we're coming into Bodega Bay, just north of San Francisco after a pretty rough few days. There's no wind now, so you can hear our little generator doing its thing, charging up the batteries while we use our little electric motor to come in. Norman at the helm. He did the day watch today. I did all night last night watch. And we don't usually do it that way, just worked out that way this time. And here's foggy Bodega Bay. This is the little port that Emily and I were towed into by the Coast Guard when we first bought Mig in San Francisco, and she was sinking because of the packing gland. We had to be towed in by the Coast Guard. If you haven't watched that video, I think it's number 4 or something. Scroll back and check it out. You can see what happened. So it is kind of cool for me to be coming back here with Mig, and she's all fixed and everything's working now, and well, almost everything. We do have a few things to fix here while we're in Bodega Bay, but it was a pretty good passage overall. I think we do need to we have 2 weather systems coming, so, and then I've got some obligations back home at the beginning of November, so I think we may be staying here in Bodega Bay until the first part of November, and then we'll head on down to the Channel Islands at that point. And then then we'll get ready for our next passage after Christmas to Hawaii. Foggy afternoon.
A little chilly too.
Yeah, it is. So much for going south and getting warm. Not far enough south yet.
LA might be warm. I know San Francisco won't be. It's not too far enough.
Well, we're not stopping in San Francisco, so we're just north of San Francisco. Alrighty, we'll just keep the greens to our left on the way on in there. And then the marina is to your left down in there. I got all my fenders ready to go, ready to toss over, and my spring lines, bow line, and my stern line. And I think once again my buddy Norm is going to dock the boat.
A little better. Get better every time.
Yeah.
Or worse. I'm not sure which.
Yeah.
If we did it every day, I'd get pretty good at it. But
Yeah.
once a month, I'm not really.
we don't do it very often. I'm a little better at jumping off of the boat onto the dock than old Gimpy over here. I'm traumatized by the thought of his hip going out as he goes over, and then he's stuck between the boat and the dock. He insists that he can do this. Oh yeah, and I'm sure he can. I'm just not sure he can every time. You see the Coast Guard coming up behind you here, right? Yeah, slow it down a bit. Let him go in front of us. He's probably the same Coast Guard guy that towed Emily and I in here. Nice of them to just cut our bow. America's finest. They really are. And actually, I'm pretty sure that maybe that is the same boat. That's quite the boat. I'll tell you what, they can wake me anytime. Anytime. They've helped me out a lot of times. All right, let's give it some more power there, friend. Look at that. right, you see your reds, right? Your reds on right. Yep, round the reds. Welcome to Bodega Bay, internets. All the Sailing Vessel MIG subscribers, thank you very much for subscribing, watching the videos. Sorry my video is going to be late this week. I was offshore getting the hell beat out of me on Friday when I would normally upload a video. And this little Starlink spot, it doesn't work. So we've got plans for how we're going to fix that. But when you're out there and tossing and turning, it doesn't get a good signal. So we're going to disconnect it from that and move it around and see if we can find a better spot for it. If worst case scenario for us, we could mount it on the back of the solar panels back there, sticking out the very back. I really don't want to put anything more up there if I don't have to though, so we're going to try something else first. My spring lines. So that way I can grab my bow line. The stern line's here. But I jump off with the springs. Let's just go right here. So just like we did before, I'll jump off with the spring lines, okay? I love that boat. My gosh, that is so cool. That's awesome. That's a go anywhere boat right there. Look at that Dodger. Yep. Yep, keep going. Don't turn too soon. Okay. Make your turn. There you go. Okay. Okay, hop off. Grab that bow line. The bow line right there. Okay, yep, I got the stern. Just secure her now, and then we'll figure out where we need to be. Yeah, we'll just do it to that and this one for now. Yep. Take your spring up to it if it's long enough. Should be. Well, Meg. Here, let's get this over here. You want to loosen that? Oh, yeah, it's good now. It just was. All right, let's go for a little. Well, people. Norman Topher show.
We made it, kids.
Man, that was quite a trip.
That was a rough ride.
So this is where I stow the Starlink. I was hoping I could just leave it here, but I'm gonna leave this platform because it's easy to put the Starlink dish in that for offshore or for stowage when it's rough out. And then I've taken all of the extra cord and I had to run it up here, and I put it in this little container here, and now it gives me plenty of extra so that I can move the Starlink dish wherever I want it. Right now it's up on the foredeck, and I've just lashed it down here. What I did is I just drilled some holes through and fall off the boat so that I can tie it down. And right now it's tied forward on the foredeck, and it's working great, way better. It's got an unobstructed view when you look at the Starlink app. So I'm hoping now that offshore I can move that Starlink dish around when I want to connect, and I can, the little panels, they're 40-watt panels. I'm only getting a very little bit of solar from it anyway. And offshore, I'm only going to use the Starlink when I'm trying to connect to download weather and whatnot. I'm not going to leave it up and running all the time because of power consumption. So I'm thinking I can probably just move it here, tie it down, connect, and be able to use it offshore. So if that doesn't work, well, if that worked really well, I could mount it right up here on the back of the solar arch, just coming out of the back right there. I can make another little platform with some more little supports that come down to support it, and I could leave it up there permanently mounted. I don't really mind moving it around. It's not like I'm leaving it connected all the time. So I might just leave it like this if this works. And if this still doesn't connect because there's too much motion of MiG offshore, then I'll have to get the high-speed dish, which is 4 in motion. And if I did that, I know it would work, but that's $2,500 for the dish. Everything else would be the same for me, the price that I pay per month and whatnot, but I really don't want to do that. So that's the plan. So once we got to the marina, We stayed over in that spot for a few days, and then they gave us a monthly rate for the next month since I have to go home anyway, and they moved us over here. And the rate is really great. I think we're paying $240 a month is all for this slip, and it does have power and it has water. And so MIG's all set up, and we've done all the things that needed to be done here in Bodega Bay. We've done a few little projects, and we're gonna just stay here for the next month. I'll be heading home to visit family and go to a Halloween party with my wife and stuff. And Norman will just stay here on the boat. And then when I get back, we're gonna go on down to Catalina and the Channel Islands and do some cruising down there. So there's Mig at the dock in Bodega Bay. Doesn't she look cute? Oh, there's my buddy Norman here. He's got his little baggy wrinkle project going. Is this number 2 you're making or still number 1?
We're still working on number 1.
What
is not a very speedy process.
What did you say your estimate is for getting 4 of them done?
Oh, it's about 4.5 years. I figured I'm going to try to do a foot a day.
A foot a day.
So
Show them how you do this.
Okay. Well, we've got 6 foot of double line, made it 6 foot. So I just take this one little. These are 6 inches. So then I just take it and put it up, and then I reach underneath and grab, and then I pull it down, slide it over, and get a little tug, and that's one.
And then when you're ready to actually turn these into a baggy wrinkle, explain to them how you do that.
Well, after you've got all this, this will be 6 feet of this stuff right here. And then you tie one end at the bottom of the shroud or stay or whatever, and then you just kind of wrap it around it, and it hangs down over each one will hang over the next one, kind of like this is doing here.
Yeah.
But
so now,
kind of go up.
In the end, this 6 feet will make how long of a baggy wrinkle? 6 inch?
It didn't really say. It should. I mean, it looks like it's about, a couple of feet. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't have a clue.
So since it's a little boat, we might not need as big a baggy wrinkles.
Yeah,
Maybe we can make smaller ones.
This is just an experiment to see how much we need.
Well, that's his project.
What I'm doing.
He took this on himself, and Meg is gonna look really cool and salty when she has some baggy wrinkles up there in the shrouds. They work for chafe protection for the sails. That's why you have them. So just wanted to maybe let you know a little bit about Bodega Bay. A couple of interesting things about Bodega Bay. It's famous for something. It's famous for a couple things, apparently. But the biggest thing that it's famous for is The Birds by Alfred Hitchcock was filmed here in Bodega Bay. And I got to tell you something funny. I didn't know that. And for the first 4 or 5 days that we were here in Bodega Bay, I was fighting the birds off of the boat. I'm not lying. This is true story. Little black birds were coming to the boat every afternoon, and they hung out at this shrimper boat next to us that has been abandoned. It's really rusty and in bad repair, but it was like that was their stop, and they would come to the boat on the other side of the dock from us in a huge flock of little blackbirds. And they're not crows, they're just little blackbirds, like in The Birds. I think those were little blackbirds. And they just started landing on Mig, all over Mig, and they were going up under the Dodger, in the cockpit, and they're pooping everywhere, and they're landing on all my solar panels, and they're pooping. And so I was chasing these birds off, and I'm like, get away, birds. And the guy down the dock from us, he came over and he said, and by the way, it's the same guy who in the video of us coming into Bodega Bay that we met, that came over to see our little North Sea. But anyway, his name's Will. He said, yeah, you don't want to fight with those birds. Haven't you heard? And I'm like, I didn't know what he was talking about. And he's like, yeah, don't fight with the birds. You don't want to fight with them. You don't want to make them enemies, you know. Everybody knows that. And I'm like, why? And he goes, haven't you ever seen the birds? And that's how I found out that the birds was filmed here in Bodega Bay. Don't mess with the birds in Bodega Bay. The other thing I'll say is all the other birds, like the seagulls and the cranes and everything, they poop all over the dock. The other thing is they've got these great big harbor seals. And they make so much noise. They come up on the docks and they just bark and wall, make a bunch of noise. It's like having a dog in the yard next door, which, by the way, I know what that's like. Anyway, so, yeah, the birds. The other thing they're known for is crab sandwiches. There's a crab place. There's 2 restaurants across from the marina, and one of them is called the Crab Company, and they have these crab sandwiches, and they're like $17, so they're not cheap, but they're a quarter pound of crab in each sandwich. They're not very big, but they're completely worth the $17. So if you're in Bodega Bay for any reason, go get yourself a crab sandwich because it's worth it. The other thing they have is home-baked sourdough French bread. And I know none of this is keto, and I'm a keto guy, but I'm telling you, it's got me off keto right now because those sandwiches and that bread are just too good to pass up. I can't do it. So, for instance, today we're having, I made egg salad, and we're having egg salad on French bread. I'm still not fat, though, so it's okay. All right, well, thanks a lot for watching, and I hope you come back next week. Next week, I have a technical video for you if you have an electric motor on your boat and you're setting up your wiring system, your batteries, and your charge systems from 48 to 12 volt. I've got some very important information for you that you don't want to miss because you can really mess up your boat if you hook it up the wrong way. And I found out the hard way. I didn't mess up my boat, but now I know how to do it right, and I did not have it done right before. So stay tuned next week to learn a little bit about how to charge up your 48 volt to 12 volt system. Thanks a lot. Come back next week. So.
Together.